Hello everyone and welcome back to another Ambitious Cruise video. Today I'll be taking a look at the new level limit break buffs that we got with the new data download. Along with this level limit break batch, we also got a whole new batch of characters in the Sugo, and we also got a few ship upgrades. I'll be going through those in separate videos, but for now let's just focus on the level limit break. In terms of what units we got one new legend, got an upgrade being version 1 Big Mom. We got 3 treasure map characters being Tashigi, Stussy and Vivi. They all got level limit break buffs, and finally 2 Powder Rumble recruits being Conis and Rebecca and Toy Soldier got some PvP buffs that we need to talk about. But without further ado, let's get straight into it, starting off with the main man herself, Big Mom. Okay, so starting off with Big Mom, so she has quite a terrible captain ability right now without level limit break or expansion. As you can see, they're a flat 3.5x 1.3x HP. There's no cooldown, and then she obviously has her effect of converting recovery orbs into similar and making them matching. Besides that, everything is quite bare bones. Obviously she has her hunger pangs effect. When she is starved from similar orbs, she does have a very increased attack multiplier in her captain ability, with the sacrifice of you can't even control the tap time. So let's take a look at what she does after her expansion and level limit break buffs. Remember, no cooldown, and also she was a 3.5x attack multiplier, very weak. So after expansion and level limit break, she is now going to have cooldown of -2 at the start of the quest. So that's amazing already. We now can use her as a speed farming captain if you do want to use her in that aspect. And also she's going to boost her attack multiplier from 3.5x into a 4.75x attack. So very significant buff. It's still quite weak in modern day, especially considering that if you don't have expanded, it's probably only going to be a 4.5x. So still quite weak, but it's doable. You can still work with it. Her HP was also increased to 1.5x from 1.3. So also pretty nice. She's a lot more tankier, and then she still has her effect of making similar count as matching. Besides that, when you enter a hunger pang mode, based on how long you haven't consumed similar orbs, and also her rampage mode, the only increase here is the multipliers. So it's pretty nice, but mostly you don't even want to enter that hunger pang or because you lose the control over the character, and also you can't control that timing. So looking at the base captain ability, it's definitely a significant increase. I'm very happy with the cooldown and also the buff in the attack, but it definitely could be better considering how weak it is, probably without the expansion. But overall, very significant buffs to her captain ability. Let's take a look at what her special is. So prior to level limit break 5, her special is going to change her own orb into strength. And then if she is a captain or friend captain or helper captain, then she's going to lock your top row's orbs for 2 turns, and she's going to give the top row a 3x attack and orb boost. Actually only a 2x, so it's very weak, and it's only to your captain, so it's overall just a very terrible special ability. There's not much going here, there's no utility, only matching all for 1 character, and the attack and orb boost is very weak, and it's only to 2 characters on your crew. So a very terrible special that can't be used in modern day. But at level limit break 5, she's once again going to deal single typeless damage. She's going to lock your entire crew's orbs for 2 turns instead of just the captain's, and she's now going to boost your strength, dex and quick characters base attack by 1000 for 2 turns. So nice that they're adding some damage there. And then she's also going to change her own orb into matching as before. And then if your character is a captain or friend captain, then she's going to boost your top row by 3.5x for 3 turns instead. So before it was only a 2x to your captains, but instead now it's a 3.5x for 3 turns, so you can carry it over multiple stages. And if she isn't the captain, then she's just going to boost her own attack by 4x for only 2 turns now. So a very strong special, but it's still very limited to how many units actually gain an advantage from this. It's very similar to Odin and Toki if you do use her as a captain, and in the sense that 2 units are going to be dealing a lot of damage, but the rest of the crew will be quite weak. And she is usable as a captain now because of how buffs they gave her, but I don't see how often people will actually use her as a captain. but either way, her special is very good for damage. Still no utility, unfortunately, but they definitely have given her a very good offensive buff, and they definitely have sufficiently upgraded her captain, giving her cooldown and a very increased multiplier for her attack and HP. So that's it for Big Mom. Honestly, it's not terrible. Definitely not one of the worst level not break buffs we've received. She has nice upgrades for her captain and for her special. Definitely still could have added some sort of utility in there, but it's not a terrible captain and not a terrible sub either. Even if you're running her as a sub, she's still going to be dealing a ton of damage of having a 4x attack and orb boost. So that's Big Mom. Let's get into the other level not break buffs, starting off with the treasure map units. So as I said at the start, you got 3 new characters, one being Vivi, and then the others being Stussy and also, what's her name, Tashigi. So let's first take a look at what Vivi does. She has gotten quite a few buffs, and let's just take a look at what she does. She does have upgraded captain ability as well, which is actually pretty nice if my internet would cooperate. So currently her captain ability is 2.75x, 3.75x if you have used her special in the turn. So overall, just nothing amazing. But now she's gonna give the entire crew a turn of cooldown at the start of the quest. So always love to see that. And then her attack multiplier for Sai is gonna be 4.25x at base, which is a lot better than what it was before. She's gonna boost recovery by 1.5x and also boost the chances of you landing on a recovery orb. So obviously wanting you to heal a lot when using this character as your captain. She's going to be a 5.25x attack multiplier for your Sai units if you have used her special in the turn. So on final stage or on the 4th stage, if you want to use a burst turn, then she's going to be a 5.25x attack multiplier, which is just very good. Unfortunately, there's no HP multiplier, but that's not too much of a concern. Mainly having her attack multiplier increase is so good. And then she's also going to make your int recovery and tandem orbs counter as matching, which is a very nice touch. She has nice matching orbs, a very good multiplier. She has cooldown. Honestly, this is a very usable captain in modern day content. 5.25 on your burst turns is no joke, especially considering the fact that she has double special activation, so you can use her on multiple stages and get that very nice captain ability. As for her special, currently it's a adjacent orbs to recovery, and then she's going to reduce your chain debuffs and then give you a very slight attack boost. So nothing crazy, it's not really worth running on your crew. But now she's also going to reduce enemies damage reduction and defense up by 2 turns. So in addition to the chain multiplier debuffs, we can now reduce 4 turns of those enemy defensive effects, because remember, we can activate her special twice. And also her attack multiplier has been slightly increased. If you do activate her once, then it's going to be a 2x attack boost to your entire crew. And then if you activate her special again in the same turn, then it's going to be buffed to a 2.25x multiplier. So it's very nice. Well, I mean, it's not too great, but it's still a very nice increase to have. The main thing though is the utility. And then also, if your character's slot is recovery when the special is launched, you're going to heal 10,000 HP and change the adjacent and her own orb into matching. Well, to recovery, but it is counted as matching in her sailor effect. So it's kind of weird that they added a condition now for her orb manipulation. Because before you didn't have to do anything to get those matching orbs, but either way, you're not going to be using her for her matching orbs, mainly for the utility and also for the attack boost. Overall, her special still isn't the best, because 4 turns of reducing enemy defensive effects isn't still the best. It would have been nice if it was 5, but it's still usable. And obviously reducing the chain debuffs isn't the greatest, since those debuffs you can get around that a lot easier. Overall, this is not a too crazy buff to a special. They definitely could have done a bit more, making that attack, the defensive effect utility up to 5 turns, and then also removing the restriction for orb manipulation would have made her a lot better. Also, I think the attack multiplier could have increased by maybe 0.25, even more. Should have definitely been a lot more usable in that case. But either way, it's a pretty decent buff to a special and a very significant buff to a captain ability. As a free-to-play player, you're going to be able to use this character as a captain, which is very nice. I'll definitely see if I can use her in future content like treasure maps, but we'll see how it goes. And then we can now talk about the Tashigi as well as the Stussy. So as for Tashigi, this is a very good character even before level no break. She was used in the Charlestown Grand Voyage for amazing special. But now let's take a look at what she does in her captain ability and also her special. Once again, gaining 1 turn of cooldown at the start of the quest is very nice. She's 4.25x, she heals 2000 HP at the end of the turn, and then she's going to boost those characters by 5x attack if your HP is 80% or above. And then it also reduces damage taken the lower your HP is, up to 40% at 1%. So for this character, she's definitely more focused on being tanky, but 5x is still a very good multiplier. Just make sure you don't get below 80%, and she's going to be a constant 5x captain ability, so very strong. And honestly, I would say this is once again a very usable captain. She has cooldown, she has tankiness, she also has a very good attack multiplier. And as for her special, at 11 turns as usual, it's now going to have a condition that if your crew heals over 20,000 HP beyond the crew's max before the special is launched, then now you're going to reduce the defense up and the threshold by 6 turns instead of 4. So before it was just a 4 turn defense up and threshold reduction, but now they just added a bit of a condition if you want to get a bit of more utility out of her. It sucks that there is a condition there. I mean, there's not a lot of characters that can allow you to heal over max HP. So honestly, I think they should have just given her straight up a 6 turn reduction, and it would have been a lot better. But it could still be usable in content. And then she's also going to change your cerebral and slasher characters block and type slots into matching. Why not just change all of the orbs? Because now if you have a recovery or tandem orb, you're not going to be able to change that into matching. And then she's also going to, as usual, give you a color affinity boost. She still had that in her previous captain special ability. And then if you do have a color affinity when the special is activated, then she's going to buff it by 0.25 instead. So honestly, a pretty decent special, but the buffs aren't too significant. I mean, they added the orb manipulation, but it could be better. Still very nice that they added that. And I mean, it's just a nice touch to this character, the orb manipulation and also the added utility, but it's overall nothing too crazy. I don't think this character is going to be game breaking, but I do think Vivi is a bit better in her buffs. Tashigi, I just wish she didn't have that condition for her 610 utility. Let's move on to Vivi. So Vivi, oh wait, I just talked about Vivi. Okay, Stussy. So Stussy has very weak utility before level 1 break. So let's see what she got with her level 1 break buffs to her special as well as her captain ability. So what she does now is she's going to reduce despair and special bind by 5 turns. I'm pretty sure it was 3 before, so very nice buffs. And then she's also going to give you a color affinity as usual, and then if you already have a color affinity, she's going to buff it similarly to how Tashigi buffs the color affinity. So honestly, there's really nothing much going on here. She's basically the same besides a small increase in the utility, which is very significant because now this character is actually worth running on your crew. She was so weak before because of how little her utility was, but I'll still take it. This is not much that she got, but it's still very strong. As for her captain ability, she's going to reduce cooldown by a turn at the start of the quest, just like the other characters, and she's going to boost shooter and cerebral characters by 4.25x, and then give you a 3 turn reduction of special rewind when you are inflicted with it. That's really good, having cooldown and a pretty strong captain ability as well as utility. I think this is actually the best buff that we got for any one of the new characters. And similarly to Vivi, her captain ability gets increased up to 5.25x if you have used her special in the turn. So very strong captain ability, we have utility, cooldown and very strong attack multipliers. All of these units have received such amazing captain ability upgrades, and I can't wait to see how people use them as captains in future content. That's going to be it for the treasure map level 1 break buffs. Let's get into the PvP buffs for Conis and also Rebecca Toy Soldier, and then we can wrap up the video. So for Conis, the main thing that was upgraded was her ability to both buff the crew on terms of the defense up, and then also to debuff the enemy with their defense down. Now what that means is on her rumble ability, so her passive, it's basically the same, but instead Her ability to buff your in-type teammates for defense up has increased from level 2 to level 5. So it's not a very noticeable change, but it's definitely significant. Defense up is one of the most important buffs to have on your team, so having that increased by 3 levels is definitely significant. And honestly, I can definitely see Conis seeing play more in the future with how significantly the defense up and also the defense down on the enemies has increased. As for a special, the defense down initially level 2, but now it's been changed to level 5. Everything else is the exact same, so the only thing that's changed in her abilities is the defense up to your in-type teammates and also the defense down to your enemies. So having your team be a lot more tankier and also making your enemies a lot more weaker is a very nice buff. I actually haven't seen what Rebecca and Toy Soldier does in terms of their level not break buffs, so this will be my first reaction as well. So Rebecca and Toy Soldier, I actually don't have this unit, but I know they are very viable on the side team. So let's take a look at what they do, if I can get to the character. So Rebecca and Toy Soldier already prior to level 1 break was a beast, so let's see what kind of upgrades they got, if I can find them. Am I just blind? Oh, there they are, okay. So in terms of their level 1 break buffs, they are now a side type teammates, attack up level 6, defense up level 5, and HP up level 5. Let's see what they do before level 1 break. So prior to level 1 break, they are level 6 for attack, level 2 for defense, and HP up level 5. So once again, they got a defense up buff for the teammates, so I'm very happy with that. Defense up is always nice. And in terms of their special, they are now going to deal target 3 enemies for 2.25x attack, and then enemies will get a defense down, and slasher enemies will get an additional level 5 defense down. So let's see what changes from her regular special ability. So instead of targeting 2 enemies, she's now going to target 3, which is always nice. Her attack multiplier increases from 2x to 2.25x, and then her defense down to the enemy is now going to change from level 3 to level 5. So very significant buffs to her special. Her attack multiplier is increased, the amount of enemies she targets is also increased, and she also has a nice increase to the defense down she's going to apply to the enemy. So overall, very nice buffs for Rebecca and Toy Soldier, as well as Conis, mainly focused on the defense down and defense up components of their passives and also their specials. So overall, it's a pretty decent batch of level 1 break buffs. Big Mom has quite significant increases in her captain ability and her special. The treasure map characters all have amazing captain abilities and also decent upgrades to the specials. Nothing too big game breaking though. I definitely think last month's treasure map batch for level 1 breaks was a bit better, but it's still not a terrible batch this month for the treasure map characters. As for the PvP buffs, it's very significant, and I love that they increase their defense up and also the defense down to your enemies. That's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and with all that being said, I'll see you guys within the next video.